Seat drop, hands and knees to hands and knees is an introduction to 1/4 rotation. It is imperative that the athletes learn to bounce on the hands and knees simultaneously. The front drop position is a static hold where the athlete lays on their stomach with the knees bent, toes pointed to the ceiling. The elbows should be bent facing outwards and the hand should be on the trampoline bed protecting the face. Seat drop to hands and knees to front drop is an introduction to the front drop. It's much easier for the athletes to learn to land properly in the front drop position when coming from the hands and knees position as opposed to the feet. The backdrop position is a static hold where the head, shoulders, back, and hips should all be flat on the trampoline. The arms are up and the legs are up pointed to the ceiling. The elbows and knees should be straight and the eyes should be looking past the feet. Standing fall backwards to backdrop position is an introduction to the backdrop. However, many times the athletes have fear when jumping backwards. This will teach the athlete to land in the proper position from their feet, however, without the fear. Jump to backdrop should be taught with a mat placed in the center of the trampoline over the cross. The reason being is if the mat is placed in the back of the trampoline, the athlete will create habits of jumping backwards to land onto the mat, as opposed to staying in the center of the trampoline. A half twist to seat drop is a progression for seat drop, half twist to seat drop, otherwise known as swivel hips. The seat drop to hands and knees to 3/4 front somersault to feet is a progression for the front somersault tuck to feet. The athlete should try to push off the hands and knees simultaneously, landing their front somersault in the same place they landed the hands and knees drop. The seat drop to front drop is a 1/4 rotational somersault. This skill can be taught in the tuck, pike, or straight position. The backdrop half twist to feet is a progression for the branny. The athlete performs a backdrop by rotating by lifting the legs. The athlete then rotates off of their backwards forwards by pushing the feet up and forwards. Once airborne, the athlete then performs the half twist using the legs. Seat drop, half twist to seat drop, otherwise known as swivel hips. The athletes here must focus on straightening out their body, reaching their hands to the ceiling before performing the half twist in the air. The seat drop, hands and knees, 2/4 front somersault to backdrop mimics the front 3/4 somersault to backdrop. The athletes here must rotate off the hands and knees by driving the heels behind them and reaching the arms next to the ears. A good cue is to teach the athletes from the hands and knees to reach for a handstand mid-air. Backdrop pullover on a mat can be taught first from a standstill or low bounces. The athletes will bounce off of their back once airborne, drive their toes upwards and backwards. When first learning this skill, the athlete can perform it in an open position. Eventually, the athlete will perform a tuck or pike once upside down in the pullover. Front somersault tuck. The two most important things to focus on this skill are the upright torso and the arms by the ears on the takeoff, and the knees to the chest during the tuck position. Failure to do Two of these things may cause poor habits going forwards into more difficult somersaults. Tuck to flat back can be taught from a standstill and on top of a mat, however, eventually performed while jumping. The athletes here should focus on two things: the deep tuck position with the knees against the chest, as well as a straight body on the opening. When landing on the trampoline bed, the athlete should drive their heels, back of the shoulder, and back of the head into the trampoline bed. Similar to the tuck to flat back, the pike to flat back can also be taught from a standstill on top of a mat and then performed while jumping. The athlete should also focus on a deep pike position, reaching for the toes, and a straight body opening, driving the heels, back of the shoulder, and back of the head into the trampoline bed upon landing. Backdrop pullover tuck is important because it teaches the athlete how to rotate backwards, only using the legs and hips to rotate. While the head and shoulders are pressed against the trampoline, it makes it impossible for the athlete to throw the head or shoulders backwards to rotate. The athlete is then forced to rotate with their legs and hips. This skill can also be taught in the piked position. Backdrop to front drop. This skill is important to teach because it is a progression for ball outs and brandy ball outs and other various skills off of the back. It is important that the athlete learns to push the heels and feet in the right angle. If the athlete performs backdrop to front drop properly, they will stay on the cross. Cradle tuck and pike. This skill is imperative to teach front twisting. It teaches the athletes to follow the following order of operations: rotate, then position, then opening, and then twist. If the athlete performs the twist too early in this skill, they will not be able to perform the tuck or pike in the proper position. Front drop to back drop. This skill is important for progressions of Cody. The athlete here must be able to push with their hands first off the trampoline bed, then straighten their legs. This skill should be taught in the straight position. Straight to flat back. This teaches the athletes to rotate with the hips without traveling forwards or backwards. Jump 1.5 twists. This teaches the athletes to twist more than a full turn, but with control. Half twist to front drop, otherwise known as airplane, is imperative to teach properly as it can cause issues when learning the Arabian or half and half out. The athlete must rotate first off of the trampoline bed and then twist using the toes and not the shoulders. Back somersault tuck. It is important when teaching this skill to focus on the takeoff position with the head neutral and the tuck position with the knees tight against the chest. Lowest of importance is the kick out position when learning the skill. Front somersault pike. This is important because it teaches the athletes how to flip by rising the hips towards the ceiling. It is important to look for the athletes' takeoff, that they're not dropping the arms too quickly towards the trampoline bed. Seat drop full twist to feet. This skill teaches the athletes how to twist by using the hips, coming from a pike position into a straight position. Seat drop, hands and knees, 2/4 front somersault to flat back, half twist to front drop. This teaches the athletes to open into a straight position, and because the half twist is on the next bounce, it teaches the athletes to put the twist at the very end of the somersault. Front drop, half twist to flat back. This teaches the athletes how to do front twisting properly. The athletes on the rebounding bounce from their front drop should drive the heels behind them and twist with the heels. Straight to flat back, full twist to flat back. This teaches the athletes to perform a full twist in a straight body position. Jump 2 twists teaches the athletes aerial awareness, how to twist fast and be able to stop once they've completed 2 twists. Full twist to seat drop. When performing the skill, the athlete should lean slightly backwards so that they can land in the seat drop properly. Full twist to backdrop. This skill is great for the athlete's development because it allows them to begin to mentally break up skills into pieces. The athlete should think of this skill as an airplane plus an extra half twist. Backdrop pullover pike. The athlete should try to rotate fast enough to perform a pike position and kick out into a straight position before landing. Backdrop pullover with a half twist. This skill is important to the development of a back half and back full. The athlete must first pull over, spot the trampoline before performing the half twist. Three-quarter front somersault tuck to flat back. This teaches the athletes proper takeoffs. If the athlete leans too far forwards, they will not be able to land in a straight body position. This skill is also important to teach because it mimics the landing of double and triple somersault progressions. Half twist to backdrop. This skill is not only great for aerial awareness and learning to twist with the heels instead of the shoulders, but also for safety. If an athlete is falling forwards to their front, it is safer for them to turn to their back. Three-quarter back somersault tuck. In order to land safely on the stomach and show a proper tuck position, it is important the athlete maintains an upright position in the takeoff. If the athlete is approaching the trampoline in an unsafe manner, either too much on their chest or too much on their legs, it is important that they adapt and land on their hands and knees instead of their front. Three-quarter back somersault pike. In order to land properly on their stomach, the athlete must be able to kick out into a completely straight body position before landing on their stomach on the trampoline bed. Three-quarter front somersault straight to flat back. This skill helps teach front rotation, spotting, and takeoff timing. If the athlete has an incorrect takeoff, it will be evident on the landing as they will not land with the heels, hips, and shoulders simultaneously. Backdrop a full twist to backdrop, otherwise known as cat twist. The athlete must drive the toes and hips up towards the ceiling, twist in a straight body position before landing in the backdrop position. Front drop to backdrop straight. This skill is important to learn proper rotation off the stomach to learn Cody in the near future. The athlete must push off of the hands and lift the chest, leaving the trampoline bed. Granny tuck. It is important that when learning this skill, the athletes put the half twist at the very end of the somersault. Once the athlete progresses, they may be able to twist a little bit earlier, spotting the trampoline bed the entire somersault. Front somersault straight with the arms up. When the athlete holds their arms up, they become taller, thus making the somersault more difficult. The athlete then must drive the heels more aggressively than normal to make the full somersault around to the feet. Granny tuck to back somersault tuck. This might be the athlete's first time connecting a front rotation element to a back rotation. The athlete might be nervous, and to learn this connection, they might put a straight bounce between the two skills before connecting. Seat drop, hands and knees, brainy tuck to front drop. The athlete here must focus on the tuck position. If the athlete turns off the trampoline bed too early, they will not be able to do a tuck position properly, and the skill will look more like a round off. Front drop, half twist to front drop, otherwise known as cruise. It is important that the athlete learns to put the half twist on the second portion of the skill. This will be implemented in skills such as full and half out straight and full and full out straight. Porpoise. This skill is important to learn not only as it teaches the athlete to spot the trampoline bed and duck under, as they will perform when learning double somersaults, but also for somersaulting off of the back, which will progress into ball outs, brainy ball outs, and Rudy ball outs. Three-quarter back somersault straight. This skill is important to learn not only because it pairs with the Cody, but also because it teaches the athletes to have the perfect amount of rotation from their takeoff. Three-quarter front somersault straight to ball out tuck. This is one of the first 5-quarter rotation elements the athlete will learn. This will teach the athlete to hold on longer than a normal flip to prepare them for double somersaults. Three-quarter back somersault straight, tuck to backdrop, pull over tuck is imperative to learn the three-quarter back somersault straight Cody. Backdrop, full twist to front drop. It is important that the athlete rotates off their back standing up before applying the twist. This will be implemented when learning a full twisting porpoise. Seat drop, hands and knees, two-quarter front somersault tuck with a full twist to flat back, otherwise known as fold down. Performing this skill from the hands and knees forces the athletes to rotate and show position first before performing the twist. Porpoise pike to flat back. This skill allows the athletes to mimic the ending of a 1 3/4 pike to flat back. Cody tuck is not just an important skill to perform because it'll be in future routines, but also to mimic the ending of a double back somersault tucked. Front drop, full twist to back drop. Similar to the cruise, the athlete bounces off of the stomach, lifting the chest before placing the twist. Back somersault tuck to backdrop on a mat. This is usually done from one bounce or very low bounces, and it's meant to mimic the takeoff of a double back tuck somersault. Front full straight. The athletes must try to hold the arms by the ears as long as possible while the heels drive backwards before performing the twist. A common flaw is that the athletes will drop the arms too soon and twist off of the trampoline bed too early. Three-quarter back somersault with half twist to flat back. This teaches the athletes they must rotate first before twisting and is a progression for back full. Rudy pike. The athletes may perform this skill in the pike position because it forces them to put the twist at the end of the skill as opposed to twisting off of the trampoline bed too early. Ball out pike. The athlete will become accustomed to flipping more than four quarters, but this time in the pike position. Double back somersault tucked. When first learning the skill, the athlete will kick out somewhere between 3 and 6 o'clock. As they progress, they will be able to kick out closer to 12 o'clock. It is also worth noting that when first learning the skill, that the athlete should be in a spotting harness, pit, or with a hand spot for the athlete's safety. Backdrop, 1.5 twist to front drop. The athlete must have complete aerial awareness to know when to stop and land in the front drop. Front drop, 1.5 twist to flat back. The athlete must have complete aerial awareness to know when to finish 1.5 twist and land on the back. Cody pike. This skill is to help understand rotating more than a single flip in a different position other than a tuck. One and a quarter front somersault tuck to front drop. This is one of the progressions for learning front double somersaults. It is important that the athlete have a large mat to land on safely or a spotter to help catch the athlete should they under or over rotate when learning this skill. Hands and knees, 1.5 front somersault to flat back. This skill is to help teach the 1 3/4 front somersault. It is helpful for fearful athletes because it begins closer to the trampoline, slightly lower in height, and is less rotation, 6 quarters versus 7 quarters. Arabian 3/4 front somersault to flat back. It is helpful if the athlete thinks of the skill broken into two pieces, the airplane and a front somersault to flat back. 1 1/4 back somersault pike to backdrop. This skill mimics the takeoff of a double back pike somersault. It's usually taught from one bounce or low bounces and usually connected with a pullover. Porpoise tuck and pike with full twist to flat back, otherwise known as full up. The athlete must rotate off of their back before performing a full twist, then spotting the trampoline and ducking under to flat back. This is a progression for full in half out pike. Front fold to seat drop. This skill is a drill for full and half out pike. The goal is to exit the trampoline without twisting immediately, twisting in the straight position, spotting the trampoline, and finishing the twist within the 3/4 of the flip. Lastly, sitting up into the seat drop position to mimic the pike of the full and half out pike. Rudy ball out. This skill can be taught in the tuck, pike, or straight position and is used to mimic the ending of a Rudy out. 1 3/4 front somersault tuck and pike to flat back. This skill is imperative for understanding the timing in double somersaults. This will also lead into a good foundation of progressions for all twisting double somersaults, such as Arabian 1 3/4 to flat back, full twisting 7/4 to flat back, and 1 1/2 twisting 1 3/4 to flat back for the full full.